Good evening and welcome to Estuary TV News. I'm Emma Lingard. Tonight we find out who this array of colourful hadwear belonged to.
And also hats, flowery hats, very similar shape, because she didn't like big hats with being small. She was like something that gave her a little bit of a lift.
And joining me in the studio is Rolf Spur from the Rotary Club of Cleethorpes. But first, it's over to James Dunn for the news headlines.
Hello, in the headlines today, more redevelopment plans in Grimsby's town centre. And how long does it take to shift 360,000 tonnes of rubbish? We'll find out. Major plans to redevelop Grimsby's Cartergate in the town centre were announced yesterday. North East Lincolnshire Council want to build a multi-million-pound office and retail development, which Wilkin Chapman Grange, the area's largest law firm, plans to make their headquarters. The remaining land on Cartergate will be marketed as a potential hotel or alternative development.
Well, we had an approach made to us by Wilkin Chapman Grange about an office facility. They want to combine their businesses together on one site, and they would have been looking out of town because there is no suitable accommodation in the town centre. We're only too happy to work with them to supply that accommodation, as there isn't any available, and also keep those 150 people in Grimsby town centre spending money in local shops.
At the moment we've got approximately 150 people or more at any given time working in the Grimsby town centre, but they're over two different offices. By putting them together under one roof, we'll be able to unite the firm as one, and that will have the opportunity of enhancing teamwork between them and also offering a greater facility and service to clients.
A 15-year-old girl from Scunthorpe has sadly died after collapsing at a holiday park in Cleethorpes on Tuesday. Alex Hardiment, a student at Outwood Academy, Brumby, is believed to have suffered a heart attack at Thorpe Park. Paramedics arrived at around 4:30 p.m. and battled to save her life, but she was pronounced dead at Grimsby's Diana, Princess of Wales Hospital. A Grimsby charity working with disabled people has been able to grow thanks to a £95,000 government grant. Foresight got the grant from the Investment and Contract Readiness Fund, designed to bring expertise into charities and social enterprises. They used the money to bring in consultants, which have helped them raise investment and consolidate property loans, saving £27,000 a year. The consultants also helped them put together successful bids for 2 public sector contracts in the East Riding, worth a total of £110,000.
In the current economic climate, I think community organisations such as ours can probably deliver services more cost effectively than the public sector. But I guess one of the things that the government have recognised is that expertise is not always readily available within our sector, and there is a need to build capacity and upskill organisations such as ours. And the fact that we've been able to get a grant funding to do that and bring in consultants at the highest level has been a massive asset to us. And without this funding, we certainly wouldn't have been able to access this assistance and the consultancy, which without doubt has underpinned the foundations for considerable growth within our organisation.
A survey by the Hull and Humber Chamber of Commerce reveals that growth seems to have slowed slightly, despite positive announcements such as the Siemens investment. The quarterly economic survey shows that 46% of companies reported a growth in sales, which is 1% less than last quarter. 25% reported a decrease, which is 3% more. It also showed that a third of companies struggle to fill management roles, and nearly a quarter can't find the right people for skilled manual positions. Businesses said the biggest pressures were overheads, inflation, raw materials and pay settlements. But Chief Executive Ian Kelly said the climb out of recession is continuing. He said that after a flourish last year, the recent survey paints a picture of steady as she goes. And finally, this man celebrated 40 years working with North East Lincolnshire Council, but despite this job title, it's been anything but a waste of time. Ian Liggett-Wood has spent 35 years working in waste management, and in that time has shifted an estimated 360,000 tonnes of rubbish, which is about 1.8 million bins. Plenty has changed since he started in 1974, but he plans to keep working for a few years yet.
It's changed a lot, really. I mean, it was, you know, used to be able to meet a lot of people. get good friendships and that, you know, with the customers, as we call them. And that, it's got to see them every week, and they look forward to you coming as well. The job's got easier, but, yeah, cleaner. I mean, you feel like you've done the day's work, you know.
Ian's been a remarkable employee throughout, obviously, the waste management service since he's been with us. I mean, he's a picture of health after 40 years in the service, all the fresh air and the fitness obviously doing the world of good.
And that's all from me. I'll see you next time.
Most days, people only wear hats to weddings and race days, but in the past, a well-dressed man and woman were never seen without one. I recently went to Louth to see a new exhibition about hats. Hats. Every woman surely cannot resist a hat. Just like a fine pair of shoes, a hat completes an outfit. This latest exhibition in Louth features 60 of former Mayoress Mrs Coupledich's hats.
Well, Mrs Coupledich's hats were given to the museum back in 2005 while it was being refurbished. And they've really sat in a cupboard for quite a long time. We've had half a dozen out on display in one of the main galleries, and they've not been very interesting. But I sort of got this feeling that there was a lot more to it. So I went and had a look at the hats, and I thought we could make an exhibition of this. So the museum have been very supportive about this, the rest of the volunteers. And that's what we decided to do. We decided to go with it. We've got 60 hats on display. And Mary Coupleditch, I don't know where she kept them all or where her daughter kept them all, but I rather suspect her daughter was pleased to be rid of them because they do take up a lot of space.
Mrs Coupledich clearly loved her hats and favoured a particular style. All the hats are from the 1970s and she had her favourites.
Well, she used to love the berry shape, which is this type of hat, and she loved ruching and folds, as you can see, and also hats, flowery hats, very similar shape, because she didn't like big hats with being small. She was like something that gave her a little bit of a lift. And pretty hats. She always liked pretty hats.
From cloches to berets and pillboxes, there are hats in all colours and styles.
Mrs Coupledichch was extremely keen on hats. She loved them, and one of the quotes from her is that she couldn't walk past a hat shop without having a look. And I rather suspect she couldn't walk in past a hat shop without actually going in and buying one.
So this is a fantastic exhibition here at Louth Museum, Mrs Coupledich's hats, which runs throughout the month of April, Wednesday to Saturday. And if I was taking a hat home with me today, it would have to be this blue one. This is Emma Lingard reporting for Estuary TV. In 1996, singer Dolly Parton launched the Imagination Library to benefit children living in her home county of Tennessee in America. The aim was to encourage reading by providing the youngsters with books. Well, that idea came to England, and the Rotary Club locally are pushing this project. Joining me in the studio to tell us more is Rolf Spur. Rolf, thank you for coming in. Sounds a fabulous idea. Why has the Rotary decided to do this?
Dolly Parton Imagination Library is an official partner of Rotary.
Okay.
And in the years, our Rotary Club, we help people in Africa, India, South America and so forth. And we decided it's about time that charity begins at home.
Right.
We looked at various things where we can help locally, which we do already with Kids Out and so forth. Mm-hmm. And one thing came to us, the Imagination Library. Where we could support the children from 0 to 5 with giving them books free of charge.
Okay. Now, so is it eligible, the people that are eligible for the books, does it matter what your background is?
No.
Okay, so it's open to anybody?
Open to anybody from 0 to 5.
Okay. So who are you looking for then to take up this particular offer of the Imagination Library? Are we looking at like groups of nurseries or schools or individuals?
In other parts of the country, they started with a midwifery service where newborns already get a registration form and then they get books until they are 5-year-olds.
Right.
In other parts of the country, they do it through children's nursery and to doctors' practices and things like this. But anybody is eligible who lives in this area, so to speak.
And that is just North East Lincolnshire, or are we talking North Lincolnshire
We
as
are
well?
looking right now, obviously only North East Lincolnshire where we live.
Okay.
We started, as you know, in Grimsby at the Little Star Nursery, which is connected with the Institute.
Yes.
We got a big grant from Rotary International to do this.
Okay.
Our aim is to branch it out throughout North East Lincolnshire.
Right, okay, so people out there who are interested then, are there any costs involved in getting the books? I know you said they were free, but is there any costs involved anywhere?
Obviously there is a cost to everything.
Yeah.
The books to us, we have to pay £125 for 5 years, which is £60 a year.
Right.
And the 120, or which is 60 books, pardon. 60 books for 5 years. £125, free on your doorstep, delivered to the child.
Right.
That's the best value for money. The postage would cost you more on its own.
Yes, yeah.
And what we have from the history, and the books are addressed to the children itself.
Right, okay, so it's very personal.
Very personal.
That they get. And what types of books are sent out then?
The books are penguin books, and they are selected by a special education people in London.
Okay.
And the first books is a Peter Rabbit book,
Right.
which is signed by Dolly Parton.
All right.
Yeah, and then
Collector's piece.
and and then for eBay eventually. And then it goes on. The first books are the touch books and so forth, up to the year 5,
Right.
where they are proper reading books. They are
Okay.
selected for every stage of the child's
Okay.
age.
And again, it's that reading, isn't it? Encouraging children to learn and to be with others for reading as well, isn't it? I mean, what results do we know then that the reading and literacy has helped improve?
We know when we started it, obviously you do some research. And we have been in 2007 when Dolly Parton launched it in Rotherham.
Okay.
We were skeptical also to begin with.
Right.
But we did some research, and in Rotherham, the people who got the book, they're already 10% better in reading when they start school compared to the one who didn't get the books.
Right, and that is an important thing. I mean, we often hear that books, nobody reads books because, you know, the internet's there and they don't bother. But there's something special about picking up a book, isn't there?
It stimulates the child's brain to read the book in an early age.
Yeah.
And what we want to do from the Rotary Club of Cleethorpes, we want to give the children the best start in life where we live in North East Lincolnshire.
Okay, so if there's anybody out there that's interested, how should they contact you then to take up this offer?
They shall contact us via our website, which is www.cleethorpesrotary.org.
Okay.
And there is a contact page also.
Okay, that's brilliant. Well, thank you very much for coming in. That's brilliant. The Imagination Library, if anybody's interested, then books for youngsters from 0 to 5. Well, that brings us to the end of another programme. If you have any stories, then email news@estuary.tv or contact us via our Twitter or Facebook page, or simply pick up the telephone and call Grimsby 01472 315 561. Until tomorrow, goodbye.